Hey everyone, it's Tina from Tina's Crafty Crochet, and today we're going to be making a hat. I don't have a pattern that we're using, but this is just my standard basic hat that I use. I'm going to be using an H 5mm hook and Red Heart Neon Fleck in the Super Saver. It's a worsted weight 4, and you'll need your normal tools of scissors and needle, and you'll probably need a tape measure and a calculator. So let's start with a magic ring, and you can, go watch how to do that a little slower on one of my other videos. And we are going to chain 1, and I'm going to be using the half double crochet. So I'm going to put 10 into this circle. So this is 1. First one always gives me trouble. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to grab our tail and tighten our circle up. Excuse me. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first half double to close our ring. And round 2 will be an increase round. And what we are going to do is we are going to put 2 half double into each stitch around. So we started with 10, so we should have 20 when we're done. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now, I'm going to point out something here. You see this little spot here? This is a fake out stitch. You're going to want to put a stitch in that. But if you'll pay attention, your chain 1 is coming out of that. So we've already got our 2 stitches in that. So that is not a stitch. And we have our 20 around. So we will slip stitch into our first half double and close our ring. And this is round 1 and 2. Now you can pull the hole as tight as you want with the magic circle and sew it in. I usually wait to sew in all of my tails until I'm done. So I will start the third round, and we will increase a little differently here. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put 1 single crochet, or half double crochet, my bad, into this stitch. And now the next stitch, we're going to put 2 half double crochets in. So we've got 3 stitches, but only using 2 of our stitches from our previous row. So that's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to keep going around in that pattern. 4, and then 5 and 6 go into the same stitch, and then 7 gets its own, and 8 and 9 go into the same, 10 gets its own, 11 and 12, 13, and then 14 and 15. Anytime you put more than one stitch into a single previous stitch, that is called an increase. So we're at 15, so we should have 30 by the time we get around. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. See? And we have our 2 stitches left in our fake stitch. So that's 28, 29, and 30 go into the same stitch. And then we slip stitch to our first one and close the round. And that is round 3. Now right now, our crown of our hat is almost 3 inches, but that is not nearly big enough. So we're going to have to keep doing increase rounds. And the next one, we chain 1 into this same stitch, and then 1 into the next one, and then 2 into the third stitch. So that's 4 stitches. So we'll have a multiple of 4 all the way around. So we should have 40 stitches by the time we get back around here. So continue in this pattern. Single half double, single half double, increase, 2 half double in the same stitch. And I will meet you back around at the end. Okay, I'm just now slip stitching, and I have 40 stitches around. And since I make this type of hat all the time, I know I need 60 stitches to fit my head, which is technically like 21 inches in circumference. And so I'm at 40, so I have to do 2 more increase rounds because we're adding 10 stitches every time. And you can, if you need to do more, you can always add another row of increase. And what you do is you increase your single stitches. So there's 1. Last one we had 2. There's 2. And this round we're going to do 3 single stitches. And then next round we'll do 4 single stitches and then an increase, which is the 2 stitches in 1. So I am going to do this increase round, which is 3 singles and then an increase, which is 5 stitches and 4 stitches from the previous, because we're increasing that last stitch. And then I'm going to do 1 more row with 4 singles and an increase, which will be 6 stitches and 5 from this previous row. And I will meet you back there. Okay, I'm just finishing up my final row, and I've done my, I'm up to my last half double that's in the single. See, I have those 4 there, and then I'm going to put 2 here, 1 and 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into our first half double. And now let's measure this and make sure I don't need to add any more. And I need the crown to be about 6 inches in diameter. And that right across the middle is about 5 3/4. Now, your yarn, your tension, all of that will make a difference. I could use another worsted weight, and I could already be out here at over 6.5. So you kind of need to figure that out. And I'm going to pull up my calculator. And if I take 5.5, 5.5, and I multiply that by 3.14 and hit equals, that'll give me 17.27 for circumference. So actually, with this yarn, I need to do one more row of increase. So the last one was 4 and then an increase, and this first chain never counts as a stitch in this because this will be like a hidden seam, so you won't really see the seam on the hat. That's just the way I prefer to do it for my hats. There's a lot of different ways. This just happens to be my favorite. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the increase, which will be 6 and 7. And we're going to do that all the way around, and then we'll slip to stitch to join. Okay, we're finishing up the last one, and if one more row makes it too big, then you can always not use the half double on this last one and just use a single crochet, and that will make it just a little shorter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it now, and we are at 6.5, which is perfect. That's the size I need. 6.5 for the crown, straight across your center from edge to edge. Now you have to figure out how long you want it. If you want a slouch hat, you make it longer, because now we're fixing to work on our sides that come down and form your hat. And for me, it takes about 8.5 to 9 inches, and that is 9 inches, and we're going to make the sides about that long, and that gives me a little bit of a slouch. If I want it to hug my head, I take a couple inches off. So the length, how many rows you do now, is all up to you. You just need to know how long you want it on your head. So to do that, we are not going to increase anymore. And my round lays nice and flat, which means I didn't increase too quickly or get too many stitches in it. And that's what the crown of my hat looks like. So I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to put 1 half double crochet all the way around in each stitch. We're not doing any more decreases. And what is going to happen is going to start making it bowl up or curve down. Because right now we're looking at the outside of the hat, and this is the inside of the hat. So we're going to just do 1 half double crochet all the way around, and we are going to join with a slip stitch at every round. We are not crocheting in a circle. We're doing rows, rounds, instead of continuously spiraling it down. So I want you to close each row with a slip stitch, and I will be back. Okay, I have done, this is the last stitch on like my third row, and I wanted to show you what it looks like as it starts bowling up. And this is what it looks like. I got a big melon, so there we go. And this is the inside, and this will be the outside. Now when we go to measure the length of the hat, we will fold it in half right here at the center, and we will measure down the side. So we have a ways to go because we are just at 4.5 inches. So I'll meet you back at the end and show you how to tie off. Okay, I have now got the hat long enough for, I said it was for me, but it's actually for my best friend Kiki. And if you've watched the Kiki's Bloom video, she is the one who designed that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 or 3 rows of single crochet to finish this off because it is the perfect length for her head. And I've pulled my loop really big so I didn't lose it while I fit it on her. So I'm going to stick my loop over my hook and tighten it back up. And I'm only going to do 1 chain again, and then I'm just going to single crochet in each stitch around. And I will be back after I've done 2 or 3 rounds. Okay, as per the customer's suggestion, she only wanted 2 rows of single crochet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my hook in here, and I'm going to cut a tail with my snips, and I'm going to pull up this loop right here and take my hook out. I'm going to come in from the inside, 1 stitch over, and go through and put the loop back on my hook. And then I'm going to pull it through. And this is going to give you the seamless join so you don't have a big knot or something there. And I will thread my needle and show you how I tie in the ends. Okay, I've got my yarn threaded through my needle, and what I'm going to do is I am going to go down into this a little ways and pull it through, and then I'm going to come into a different spot and go back up, weaving in and out the opposite direction. And I'm going to do that 1 more time because yarn cannot come undone 3 different directions at once. And I'm going to snip that off as soon as I get my snips to work. And then I'm going to turn it right side out and get my tail. And some people just tie a knot in it and all of that. But I like to sew mine in. And I like, see how it's coming out of this stitch here? I like to go over that and back around the circle. And then I'll come back in a different way and go back the opposite way, and then 1 more time back that way and pull it real tight and snip it off. Now you can make this into a slouch hat, you can make it into you can do a newborn hat, you can do all kinds of different sizes with this pattern. All you have to do is just add or remove increase rows from your crown, and then add or remove hat height rows. So this is the hat. And if you want to learn some more, I have lots of other videos. Click to subscribe. Go over to my Facebook page, which is where I sell some of the products I make. And if you have any suggestions or want to see a certain video or a stitch, just leave me a comment either on Facebook or here. And as always, happy hooking.